All right. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Usually I say good morning and it's afternoon, evening, or nighttime. And I get such an interesting reaction. So very rarely do I get to say good morning during the actual time. So I'm going to introduce myself, but I'm going to tell you why I say good morning all times of the day. But before I do that, I want to introduce myself. My name is Miranda Joyner. I am a former radio personality turned brand consultant, and now I'm currently the founder of Succeed and Elevate, which is a nonprofit organization that is committed and dedicated to helping small business owners overcome burnout, anxiety, and stress. We do that by creating and curating communities where they can feel safe, seen, and supported. And then we also connect them to resources and help them with personal and professional development. So welcome out to Tech Talks. I'm really excited for us to be partnered with Bean Path to bring you these monthly talks. They're absolutely amazing. And speaking of the Bean Path, their whole mission and desire is to connect the community to tech, to enhance the educational growth and development of tech in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas. And so shout out to Bean Path for their many contributions to the things that they're doing in the city. There are so many activities coming up. And if you are connected to Bean Path, please make sure you plug in for AI month, which is the month of May. They have so many activities going on. Please connect with Anik or any of the volunteers or staff over there to see how you can get plugged in and also to see how you can support in this movement because it is quite the movement. So without further ado, I want to get into this tech talk, do less talking here, but I want to give everybody a gentle gift and reminder that the reason I say good morning all the time is because it is a soft, gentle reminder to myself that at any moment of the day, I could start over if it's getting too tough or too hard. And so I want you to take that with you and remember that when life is getting stressful, that you can always reset. Now, without further ado, we're going to get to our very special guest that we have. Dr. Roy Pope is with us, and I'm so excited to be able to introduce you. And so if you give me just a second to introduce and read his bio, and then we'll get right into the information. I do want to remind you before I read his bio that if you are joining us, whether it's via the Zoom and that you're live with us here on Zoom, or whether you are on Facebook, that you can drop questions at any given moment during this talk. I'll be monitoring the questions and I'll be chiming in to ask your questions, and you can get those responses as close to real time as possible. All right. So Dr. Roy Pope is an international educator and entrepreneur who has served as a teacher, small business advisor, financial coach, college professor, and school administrator in the United States and the United Arab, the UAE in Arab. Say that for me, Miss Dr. Pope. I feel like I was going to say it wrong.
Oh
What
no,
is
yeah, United Arab Emirates.
Emirates? Okay, very good.
Yes.
Thank you for that. For nearly 3 decades. When Dr. Pope and his wife, Dr. Risa, moved to UAE in 2013, they saw a global need for an effective, efficient, multilingual professional development platform for educators. As a result, they created EdGuru. EdGuru began as the source of English and Arabic online professional development and has now expanded to meet the needs of educators worldwide. Now, since its inception in 2016, EdGuru has been recognized and honored with receiving the following accolades and awards. In 2022, Best Institutional and Personal Learning Management Ed Tech Company. In 2003, Best Multilingual Education Platform. In 2024, Education Professional Development Provider of the Year. In 2024, Private Educator Awards nominee. And in 2024, Best Multilingual Digital Education Platform on the East Coast. In addition, Dr. Roy has received the Corporate Live Wire Innovation and Excellence Award for Professional Development Expert of the Year. He has also been honored as Principal of the Year, the City Council's Outstanding Citizen, and the City Star Principal, and received the Martin Luther King Jr. Lifetime Achievement Award. Dr. Roy, you are very, very layered. That is a lot. I think that's more awards than I've received in my entire life since elementary school. And that's just Okay. When he is not fulfilling his duties as CEO of EdGuru, Dr. Roy enjoys traveling with his wife, reading, and watching documentaries. Dr. Roy considers himself a fervent global educational leader and a lifelong learner with a zeal for innovating others to succeed and achieve their goals. So without further ado, I'm going to mute my mic and hand it over to Dr. Roy. Thank you so much for being with us. And again, if you have questions, please drop those in the comments as he talks and we'll answer them along the way. Floor is yours.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction and for having me be a part of the Bean Path Tech Talk series. So what I want to start what I want to talk about today was just general steps to create a business and lessons that we've learned along the way. And this applies to whether you want to create a business virtually online or if it's a brick and mortar type business. So the first step in creating a business is you want to have the idea. You want to look at, is there a need for that idea? What do the customers want? What needs are not currently being met? And you can easily find this out by looking up your competitors online and just reading reviews from their clients. And they'll pretty much let you know what it is they don't like about a particular product or what it is they would like to see. This is the stage where you're looking at your competition nationally and internationally. You're looking at your target market. Your target market is that buyer persona. Who are the clients you're going to sell your idea to? And that falls all in that whole target market arena. Target market arena, I'm sorry. And then how much you should charge for your product or services. Now you can find a lot of this information by, of course, going to libraries, going to a library, researching it, going online, or you can just, if you know that you're going to sell your product, you want to sell your idea to a specific type of client or customer, then you want to pull those colleagues together, either collectively or individually, and you want to have just some conversation with them about what it is they would like to see, because again, that buyer persona will give you a good idea of whatever your product or service should be and how it should be molded. Now, the next step in this journey of creating your business is you want to look at creating a business plan. Now, your business plan, it doesn't have to be detailed. It doesn't have to be a 40-page document. What it is, it's a document where you're sketching your ideas down on paper. It's your roadmap to how you're going to structure your business. How are you going to grow your business? How are you going to this increases the likelihood of your business being successful. And you don't have to have all of the answers on the front end. You just have to start somewhere, and just on the front end, and just sketching your ideas down generally. Now, the components of a business plan. Uh, it starts with the executive summary and it closes out with the financial summary part. And just giving you a brief explanation of each section. When you look at executive summary, that's where you're defining your business. That's you putting the name of your business under this section. You putting the location of your business. Who's the management? Who are the managers of this business? Who are the advisors? Because I would encourage anybody as you're going down this road of building your own business, you always want to try to pull in some type of advisors who are experts, who could give you some guidance along the way. And then the brief history of your business. When did it start? And when did you incorporate it? Whether you incorporated into a partnership or an LLC or a C Corp, which is what we'll talk about those a little bit further down the road. The second section is the company summary. That's where you want to, again, list your target market. Who are you going to sell your product or services to? Then you also want to list the different products and services that you will be providing under your company summary. The next section is the market analysis. Market analysis is you just doing a detailed assessment of your target market, and then you're looking at the competitive landscape. Who are your competitors? And what makes your idea or your product or your service better than your competitors? The next part of the business plan is the marketing plan, and that's where you identify your niche. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in detail, but when you look at all of the millions of businesses that are out there and you create your own business, you're dropping your business into a large ocean. You want to stand out somehow. You want to bring people to you. And that's where your marketing plan comes into play. Every business, regardless of the structure of it, whether it's a sole proprietorship or a S corporation, has to have a marketing plan. And the stages of a marketing plan, it just starts generally with brand awareness. You want people to know about your business. And you can do that through a number of different ways, which I'll give you some suggestions in just a few minutes down the road. And then the last two, you want to look at the management overview. This is when you introduce yourself as a leader, because you, as the manager, add credibility to your business. It really helps if you are in the same field as your business, or if you've gotten degrees or training, or you have backgrounds connected to whatever your business idea is. If you don't already have it, if you've even taken some classes to align your skill set with your business idea, then that really helps, especially when you're looking at trying to get investors, or you're going to the bank, you're trying to look for those traditional funding from the bank or angel investors. They look at the management of the business. And lastly, you want to look at the financial summary. Now, the financial summary, when you're starting your business out, I would suggest all you want to do is just list what are your expenses for your business. What are you spending money on, your operating expenses, whether it's monthly, bi-monthly, or yearly. And then as you get further down the road, then you can look at the future growth projections. An important stage or next stage in your business development plan is the logo design. I can't stress that enough. This is really important. The logo design, this helps people to understand your brand. One of the things that all business owners should possibly think about doing is just brainstorming words that describe your brand. And then sketch those ideas down. And then once you sketch those ideas down, pull some of those individuals who are would be your buyers, and get their opinion on what your sketches are. Now, this isn't a costly, expensive step or stage. There are a lot of platforms out there where you can hire experts at a very low rate. If you want to go to Upwork, or if you want to go to Fiverr, and then you can actually read reviews on individuals and what they've done and their past jobs, and then you can hire them that way. So you don't have to think about hiring a full-time person to do some of these tasks. Now, when you're looking at the logo design, you want to take in consideration the colors, because depending on what you want to convey to your audience or to your buyers, Blue, for example, exhibits or conveys trust. Red, energy. Black, elegance. Yellow, warmth. So whatever you want to convey to your audience, to your buyers, then that's where this color configuration comes into play. Now, the next step in creating your business and business idea is you want to have once you come up with a name, you want to make sure that that name is available. So I would suggest you can easily Google um, domain uh, domain name available, domain names that are available, or domain availability. You can Google that and you'll get plenty of, again, free websites that you can just put a business name in if you had an idea to see if it hasn't already been taken. Um, and then the next step is you want to look at, if you don't have an idea about what that name should look like, then you can use generation tools, business generation name tools, to generate a plethora of different names. And those tools are online for free also. You can just Google that, business name generators. Those are the keywords that you play around with, and you'll get ample resources and sites that you can actually go to. Ms. Joyner, are there any questions thus far?
Not at this moment. I don't see any questions, but I do have a question. I want to ask one. I know you
Okay.
were talking about the logo, and in the work that I do with so many small business owners, a lot of times they get very hung up on the logo being a part of their entire brand. Can you speak a little bit to what else is important around the logo? And not specifically the logo, but in addition to the logo, what else is a very important factor to consider when thinking about your brand?
Well, when thinking about your brand, you want to make sure that uh, that the name, that the logo, that it's not misleading. You want to make sure that you are not limiting yourself. Um, you might start out selling a particular product, but your business has evolved and you want to add additional products and services on. So you want to make sure that your name and your logo are wide enough so that you're not put in a box, and what you are trying to offer is not trying to hinder your growth. Um, actually, on the next slide, I had a few additional suggestions. You want to make sure that it's not complicated, and you want to make sure that it's not boring. You can, I'm a big fan of getting feedback from people along the way. So I really think that it's really helpful as you're developing your business to have those one-on-one or those group sessions with individuals that again are your possible buyers of your products and services, and then to get their idea and their opinions as well. Because when you're building a business, it's not something that's rigid. You have to be flexible, and it's you have to understand that your business is going to grow. So you are going to have to make some pivots and some adjustments along the way.
Very good. Thank you very much for that. We don't have any more questions at this moment, so feel free to proceed.
Okay. So the next part is once you've come up with your name, you've done your research, and you know your name is available. You have a logo that you've sketched out, and you've worked with professionals from some of those suggested sites that I mentioned, like Upwork or Fiverr. Then you want to look at what's your structure of your business going to be. If it's just you starting out, of course, then it's going to be a sole proprietorship. But then if there are two or more people and you've signed a contract with these persons that, hey, we're going to split the profits a certain percentage, whatever, then of course it falls under the umbrella of partnership. But then when the next step of formation of a business could be LLC, which is a limited liability company. And that's where, when you look at sole proprietorship and partnership versus LLC, um, if your goal is to get investors, investors don't they're not inclined to invest in sole proprietorships, and they're not inclined to invest in partnerships. They're they're slightly inclined to invest in LLCs, but they're more inclined to invest in corporations like C corporations and S corporations, which is, I'll share some things with you about those in just a second. But you want to go ahead and, well, let me go back. From a legal standpoint, protection wise, when you look at your assets, let's say you have your business under a partnership, and someone's not happy with your product or services, they file suit against you. Then that suit, not only do your business expenses and revenues come into play, but your personal expenses and revenue come into play. So you are responsible. You don't have any protection of your personal assets when you fall under a sole proprietorship or partnership. When you fall under an LLC or C Corp or S Corp, you do have those protections, so that if someone is unhappy with your services and they decided to file some kind of complaint legally, then it's totally against the business. It's not against you personally. So I do want to suggest that as you're building your business, you start out, of course, with that partnership or sole proprietorship, but then once you see the need, you do transition at least to an LLC. Now, some additional pointers that I like to mention about the different structures of LLCs and C Corps. When you're looking at, we talked about investors, they're more inclined to invest in C corporations and S corporations. These are companies where you sell shares, you have to have board meetings, you have to have certain legal loopholes that you have to jump through, and you have to meet those requirements on a yearly basis. From a personal protection standpoint, LLC, C Corp, and S Corp, they all protect you. And then even from a growth standpoint, you're not limited when you have an LLC or a C Corp or a S Corp. Now, when you look at it from a federal standpoint with EIN, what is an EIN? EIN is basically your social security number for your business. At the bottom of the slide, there's a hyperlink. If you click on that hyperlink or you go to that hyperlink, you'll easily find how to submit your information so you can get an EIN number. Now, what's the benefit of an EIN number? You'll need that EIN number to open your business bank account. You'll need that EIN number when you're applying for federal proposals, RFPs that have been put out by different government entities and districts, for example. So there's a platform, a very large platform. It's called Bonfire, Bonfire. Now, Bonfire, a lot of government and federal and state entities, they put their RFPs in Bonfire. To have access to this, you have to have an EIN number, because you have to load your EIN number before they open up your file so you can view the different RFPs that you can apply for. Now, this is a powerful tool if you have a business that's online, virtually. And then even if it's an in-person business that you're selling some type of product or service, or your services in person. But EIN numbers, that's a very important required step. Now, depending on the state that you're in, and you have to check with your state revenue office, they might require you to get a state tax ID number. Some states don't require that. But you can easily contact your state revenue office or uh, well, your state revenue office, and then they can just give you some guidance on that. You, depending on which states you're going to operate in, you have to register your business in that state. So that's where you would have to contact the Secretary of State's office for that particular state that you want to operate in, and you will have to file your business to operate within the guidelines of that state. And normally, when you set up your business with the Secretary of State's office, you have to renew it yearly. So on an annual basis, you have to do it, and depending on the state, you'll pay a small fee from maybe $25 up to a couple of $100, depending on which state you are attempting to operate or you would like to operate within. Now, opening a business account, why is that important? Because you want to have transactions going through your business as quickly as possible, even if you're not generating any money or any income revenue on the front end, and you're only paying out expenses. You want to show a track record of transactions taking place for your business. This increases the credit score of your business. That's important because if you choose to go to a bank or an entity like that, a credit union, they're going to look at the credit score of they have resources where they can look at the credit score of your business. And this is one way to have a high credit score for your business. When you open a business account, you have to have of course, the photo ID, a state ID. Then you have to have proof of the director's personal address. If it's an LLC, you have to you have to give them a copy of your articles of incorporation. If it's a C Corp, you have to give them articles of your organization. And then you have to just place the business address or give them proof of your business address. So that's something and there are a lot of banks that are, it's not a high hurdle that you have to jump over to open a business account, but know that you have to put this on your checklist of things that you want to do down the road. Are there any questions, Ms. Joyner, that have been posted?
Yes. So Jeffrey Redding asked the question, how important is effective communication? Can you oversell yourself?
Yes, you can. You can oversell yourself. You want to, and that's where you have those pitches, and that's again a part. It's not. I wasn't going to mention it as part of this presentation, but you want to have your elevator pitch, your 1 minute pitch, your 5 minute pitch, and your 10 minute pitch, depending on the time. And I would encourage you to Google that as well, and you'll find templates that you can actually follow that are online, free, to actually fill your information out and plug it in along the way. And then you practice those pitches with your friends, your colleagues. But you can if you follow those pitches and keep your conversation and your communication within those frameworks, you won't oversell yourself. But then if you don't, and you don't have any guidance or framework to follow, and you pitch yourself excessively, then yeah, that can take away from the credibility of your business. If you have experience in the background, and and people are going to see it. I mean, these people from the banks and to investors, they have a pretty sharp eye, so they know how to kind of cut through all of that really fast. They're going to already know that, hey, this person has experience in this area, so the likelihood of this business succeeding is very high. Any other questions?
No, that was the last question.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, when you're researching your competition, you go through uh, some steps. First step is you want to set some goals. What are your goals for researching your competitors? Then the second ladder step is you want to identify who your competitors are. Someone out there, there is very likely that somebody out there is doing something similar to what you're doing, possibly. So if that's the case, do take time, do your research online to find out who your competitors are. And then you can easily find out reviews again from their clients online on what it is they like about that product or service that your competitor is offering, or what it is they don't like about it. Then as you mold your product, your service, and you put it out there for the world to see and to interact with and to use, then you want to gather data from your clients. Because remember, your product and service, your vision is important, but your buyer's vision, what they would like to see, is more important. So you have to understand that your way of thinking about a product or service might not be the right way. You might have to pivot a little bit based on your possible buyers, and that's where you gather data. Now, what does that look like? You can have those conversations with them. How's it going? Or you can actually um, create online surveys. There are a lot of platforms out there where you can create surveys for free, and then you can just send those survey links to your clients, let them fill those surveys out, and go from there. Now, let's say you are having a difficult time. It's a new product or service, and you're having a difficult time getting it out there for people to buy. You have to understand that people don't know you and don't know your business, and that's what we're going to talk about the marketing funnel next. But you want to again get that information out there to them, gather the data, and mold your product or service. And then that leads to the analyzation and comparing. You analyze and you compare. Once you've molded your product or service, you've modified it some more based off of the feedback you've gotten from the gathering data stage. Then ultimately you go to the last stage, which is you make changes. And then once you make changes, you put it out there. Again, having a business and product service is a refining process. So you're always refining that product service to make it better. Now, when you talk about your marketing plan, all companies, no matter how large or small, have to go through these stages. You have to make people aware of your business. And how do you do that? You might have a blog, or you might do blog posting. You might do some guest speaking events to bring attention to your credibility, them and your credibility being increased with your buyers and your company. You might want to do infographics because remember, the brain remembers pictures more so than words. So you want to have infographics connected to whatever your company is, your business is, the products and services. You might start a podcast, or you might appear on podcasts. Um, So that's the whole brand awareness stage. Then eventually you want to capture those emails and then bring them into that consideration stage. So let's assume you've captured emails. So you want to start emailing them invites to live video demonstrations, maybe live sessions where you're explaining the product and answering any questions. You're talking about the features. What makes your product better than what's already out there? What makes it different? Then you want to bring them and move those clients to the decision stage, where that's where you have your pitch deck, you're pitching it, you have your proposals, you might be sending them frequently asked questions, you might create a brochure like that, a one page brochure. And then you want to just move them to the retention stage. Once they buy, you want them to continually come back, and that's where you provide that continued support through tutorials, through support, whether it's in person, online. So this is a marketing funnel that all businesses have to go through. Any questions about anything thus far?
So yes, we do have two new questions actually. So one of the actually three just popped up. So one says, I
Okay.
have a friend who sells his service around America, but he does not have a legal business set up. What are the advantages of setting up slash starting a business compared to just selling an individual product and service?
Well, you're then in that stereo, their friend, they don't have any legal protection. So anybody can come along and say, I like that product. I'm gonna do the same thing. I like the name of that product. I'm gonna make my product the same name. I like the color of that product. I'm gonna make my product the same thing. So you don't have any protection. Um, and then when you have a legal business, you can have a contract with your clients where you're selling it to them, and then let's say if that person doesn't have a contract with a client, then again someone can come right along and undercut them and say, hey, I'll sell you the same thing that this person is selling you, but I'll sell it to you a lot less if you buy it from me. So you want to have some protection legally with trademarks, with copyrights, with your clients, because if you don't, and if people see that person being really successful financially, someone's going to possibly come along and try to take that idea.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So that question was from Amber Martin. This question is from Jeffrey Redden. This one says about the current conversation around marketing that you just mentioned. This one says, can you still use cold marketing, or is the cost versus digital not working today?
Yes, you can still use cold marketing, but when you look at the effectiveness of cold marketing, um, either way, you want people to interact with your brand multiple times. Um, and it's a lot easier to, in this day and age, with setting up marketing campaigns, whether you do marketing campaigns through Facebook, or you do marketing campaigns through Google or through LinkedIn. Um, it's really easy to identify your buyer persona. So I would suggest that you spend more time focusing on identifying your buyer persona, and you market in a cold manner to them directly. Just don't shoot out a cold email to someone who hasn't shown any interest. In this day and age, digitally, Facebook, for example, keeps all types of algorithms and things in history to predict when you're on a page, you're looking at a picture, and you stay on a picture for a certain period of time. that's information that they're collecting. And so they're able to actually have a framework where you can identify your ideal buyer persona. So I would say focus on the digital, but identify the ideal person, ideal buyer persona, and then do your cold messages, not necessarily emails, but toward those individuals.
Awesome. And this last question is from Samuel Baker. It says, how long should a new business stay in these stages that you mentioned?
When you look at brand awareness, the brand awareness stage normally takes between 2 to 4 months. Then when you look at the consideration stage, um, of course, that's a lot shorter, and time whittles down as you go all the way down to the decision part. But the brand awareness is 2 to 4 months. Consideration stage, you're looking at 1 to 2 months. And then the decision part is 1 month or less. But then, of course, there is no time for retention. Retention, you want to make that a standard part of your business where whoever buys your product or services, that's a separate line of client that you want to provide those tutorials, those supportive mechanisms to on an ongoing basis. And I would say on the retention stage, you want to provide support to them on a daily basis, if not weekly, if not monthly.
All right, that's it for questions right now.
Okay. All right. So that concludes everything that I wanted to share. So, of course, I'm open to try to answer any additional questions anyone might have. I want to just tell you from a personal note, when building a business, you're going to have good days, you're going to have some sunny days, and you might have some rain. But take each lesson, whether it's a sunny day or a rainy day, take it as something that you've learned, because I promise you, in my experience and my wife's experience of building our business, we've learned many valuable lessons on both sides of the fence, whether it was a sunny day or a rainy day. And that's really helped get us to this point.
I love it. So beautiful. So first of all, thank you so much for this presentation. It was packed full of very valuable information. And as someone who has spent a lot of time working with small business owners, I hear these things a lot. These are a lot of the stumbling blocks that people come up against. Then, with my focus being in marketing and branding, when you were in that space, I was lighting up like, oh yeah, and that, and that.
Right, right, right.
I'm often explaining to clients that the logo is not your brand. It's an important factor, but it is not your entire brand. There's so much more to making an impact and connecting to your customers. So with that being said, understanding fully that this could be a lot running a business, and that can be, it absolutely is a lot to consider and classify. I want to ask you two questions. And the first question is, what is something that you know now at this stage and where you are in business? Because how long would you say you've been in business?
We came up with this idea in 2016. We launched our business in 2019.
And then what would you say is something that you know now that you wish you had known right when you started, when you launched your business?
That I wish I had sought out mentors and advisors a lot sooner. Now I don't mind. I'm listening to what everybody is saying, and if I hear something that resonates with me, and I need to learn more about it, I'm going to go to that person. I don't mind asking for help, because there's so many wonderful people out there that don't mind sharing their knowledge with you, just to so you can be successful. So that's one thing that one valuable lesson that I know now that I didn't know.
Very good. And it's so interesting that you say that, because I think a lot of people struggle with retaining and getting a mentor. And what I have observed in that space of the mentee mentor is that usually the mentees can be a bit overbearing and the mentors can be very consumed with what they're doing and maybe not have the time. So, what
Mhm.
advice would you give to someone that's looking to seek out a mentor? And in what ways can they go about trying to build that relationship with someone to get a mentor?
The advice I would give someone is to do your homework. Don't come to a mentor without having tried to prepare the meal. Uh, have something on your plate, and um, and then come to them so that they can fill in the gaps. You don't. They're not going to want to possibly build the entire building because they won't have as much time to do that. Remember, they're running their own business or businesses. Uh, so a person's time is very valuable. So make sure that you do your homework. If it's about, for example, if it's about the selling shares in a company that's a C corp, then don't go to your mentor and say, "Hey, what's a C corp?" You know, yeah.
Right.
Do your homework, your due diligence, and I think that connects to that second part of the question. That's how they build that relationship. When a mentor sees that you are doing your homework and that you're actually coming in with some things and they only have to fill in the gap, they're going to get more excited because they're going to see how hungry you are for it and they're going to want to help you more. And you just don't know what other resources and persons they might have contacts with where they can connect you with them. But again, you want to earn their trust, their respect by doing your homework, and you just never know what doors they might open for you.
Yeah, that's very good. Absolutely. I also want to add to that that, I think one of the biggest things I see is that people don't take the time to slow down and sit still to find answers, like you said, to just do your homework, do the little bit of due diligence so that you can sit and really know what you need. There is a quote that someone said, and I keep feeling like it's Einstein. I need to look this up because it might be wrong. But he
Okay.
said, if you give me an hour to solve a problem, I'll spend 50 minutes of that coming up with a plan and a strategy, and then 10 minutes implementing it. And I might be misquoting, but it's somewhere along the lines of that. And I feel like a lot of times people rush to find mentors and they don't sit and really even know what they need. I've had people come up to me and ask me for help, and they have no idea how they want me to help them. It's more like an alarm of just help me, or they're asking me how I can
Right.
help them when they tell me about their business. And I'm like, I mean, so I think it's really important for you to sit still, to put all of your stuff out and really think about the areas in which you need help when you're looking for advisors or mentors, and say, this is specifically based on who you are and what you do, how I can see you helping me. And when you come, that's also a part of the preparation part of knowing what you need, what you want, and coming with knowledge. So that's a
Yes.
very great answer. The question I was about to ask is one, well, actually, someone dropped one about mentors and advisors. I guess either as I was asking or after I asked. So that's we're right on the
Okay.
same page. And the other question I was going to ask, someone asked it in a different way. I'm going to ask my question and put theirs on top, but essentially to me, it's the same. So their
Okay.
question says, in your business, what are some of the challenges you encounter and how did you overcome those challenges? And I was going to ask you, what was a big mistake that you made in business and how did you fix it and resolve it? So if you want to merge those two together, you're more than welcome to answer that question.
Okay. No worries. All right. All right. So some of the challenges that I had along the way, that we had along the way, um, we had to identify, make sure we needed to know who did we need on the team, what skill sets did we need. Did we need someone that was a writer? Did we need an instructional designer? Did we need a coder? If we need a coder, do we need a coder in WordPress or do we need a coder in PHP? So it's so the challenges for us along the way was trying to decide who do we need on the team, and then once we decided who we need on the team, this ties into the big mistake. We need to we had to make sure that we didn't trust the wrong persons. Then we put the wrong persons on the team, and we didn't trust them. Um, um, you want to have trust with the people that you work with, but again, you want to be able to vet people, because big mistakes for us along the way is that we've tried to. Um, People could say that they was telling us that they could do things, and then we're like, okay, then let go ahead, and we trusted them 100%, but they didn't have the skill set. Now we're a little bit more seasoned, where we know how to vet people and ask those probing questions, and not just throw, money at someone, handing them a check saying, "Hey, go for it, go do this." So that's where we stand from a challenge in a big mistake standpoint. But I can say that having a business is a rewarding experience. It helps mold you. You think you're molding the business, but the business might be indirectly molding you also too. You might be, for example, someone that lacks patience. Well, with a business, you have to have patience. Uh, because you have to have patience with your possible clients to a certain degree. So that's a little added piece I just want to throw in there.
Very good. Well, very good. Well, I really appreciate that answer. And I want to say also that training is extremely important as well. So thinking about the training for your employees when you're putting them in that place to build that trust, but also think about training. Very
Yep,
good. All
so
right.
true.
Well, there are no more questions in the Q&A box, so I don't have any more questions. Are there any final words or spaces of encouragement? I know a lot of times when people are running businesses, they feel overwhelmed. A lot of the business owners that I work with, they feel isolated and alone. They're struggling with trying to figure things out on their own. So are there any final thoughts or advice that you want to give to anybody out there that's either in the midst of running their business, whether they're 5+ years or just getting started or thinking about starting a business?
One bit of advice: don't do it alone. Um, please don't, because if you do that, your vision is can possibly be skewed, and you're going to only see things a certain way. You need other people to give you advice and to share with you their perspectives. Even if you disagree with it, you want to hear that information from them, because again, a business is a living entity that's going to constantly evolve, and you're going to mold. It's a child that you're raising. So you want as much help as possible from wonderful people and mentors and advisors to help you raise a child. And you don't have to go out of the way. If you just see someone that's a successful business person, you feel that they're successful in the area, then just once you've done your homework, then approach them. um, get out and network in the business arena. Don't lock yourself up and just focus on the work. Get out, take a breather, go out to some business networking events, and just interact and listen to what people are doing in business. So those are a few words of additional advice I'd like to share.
Very good. And I will just add to that. There isn't much more to say. I would just add to that is take naps and breaks and be kind and patient with yourself on the way. Because listen,
Amen.
the way we beat ourselves up in business, we find more often than not that we work towards breaks when really we should be incorporating rest and resets in our weekly and daily regimens as business owners, because stress is really taking us out. So make sure
Yes,
that you make room for rest and that you don't look at it as a reward. Like I got to work super hard to get this rest. That no, you actually deserve rest throughout the process and journey, because it fuels you for your business. It gives
that's
you the
true.
space to be more creative. When you brain dump and when you take care of this and this, then you're more creative and better in your business. So make rest a priority.
That is so
Absolutely.
true.
Yeah, very true. All right. And if you're not doing that, Dr. Roy, you do that too. Okay. I feel like I was preaching. Okay.
Oh yeah, we try to. We try to.
Very good. All right. Well, we don't have any more questions here. I want to thank everyone that participated in this particular talk. I want to thank you so much for your knowledge, for giving us your time, for being, all the way on the other side of the world, and offering this space to us. We do not take it for granted. If you enjoyed this, please make sure that you tell a friend about the next Tech Talk. Make sure you follow the Beam Path on all the social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram. Stay connected. Again, just as a reminder, AI month is next month in May, and the Beam Path is doing so much around AI month. And so please plug in one of the events. When you see the things that they're talking about, help to spread the word, help with brand awareness, share the flyers, share the events, tell friends about this, people that you know that may be struggling. And if anything, at the least just come be a part of the community to hear and see what's going on. It's always helpful to get around other people who are doing what you're doing. Trust me, having a supportive community and finding a community to connect to is vital for survival. As he said, don't do this alone. And a part of not doing it alone is just sometimes just simply showing up to spaces, to events, to places. And you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to bump into. You never know what you're going to learn. And so get out of your comfort zone, be uncomfortable, and do the things you need to do to build your business.
Absolutely.
Is there any information that you want to leave them with in ways that they can connect with you? Or what would you say is the next thing you have coming up as we come to a close?
We're kind of closing things out now. Uh, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. Again, my information was on that last slide. Let me just pull it back up for you. So feel free to, you can go to my LinkedIn profile, or you can email me at info@edguru.co, or you can just reach out and give us a call at our 1-800 number we have.
All right, Dr. Roy, thank you so much for your time. Miss T. Pope said, great presentation, very informative, and I absolutely agree. Thank you all from also from Succeed and Elevate, my organization in partnership with the Beam Path. We are very excited to continue to bring you these tech talks. We do them every month. And so make sure you stay connected to the Beam Path to see when the next one will be. It'll be in the month of May, again, during the festivities of AI month. So make sure you join us and tell a friend. All right. Have an amazing, amazing Saturday, and do something outside of your comfort zone, preferably something techie. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.